Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. So I would like to welcome you all for this first series of webinars that we are organizing. Now, we all know that the world is going through a lot as far as supply chain disruptions are concerned. We've been impacted by the pandemic first and then the war, right? And of late, a lot of us are talking about the Red Sea disruption as well. So we thought of pointing and highlighting what is SAP and what is Westernacher's response to these supply chain disruptions. And bringing this to light, we are organizing our first series of webinar, which is around building resilience through SAP Digital Supply Chain and Business Network Solutions. So joining me today, we have got an amazing set of panelists. We have been joined by Francesco Pensa. Francesco leads our Center of Excellence for SAP in EMEA South, which is Southern Europe, Middle East, and Africa. We also have two of our esteemed panelists from Westernacher, Pankja Lal, who's the managing partner for Westernacher Southeast Asia and Middle East and Africa. And we have Amit Amin, who's leading the business for Westernacher in Southeast Asia and Middle East and Africa. And myself, your host for the day, Ayan Chakraborty. I am the head of SAP Business Network in Southern Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I welcome you all for this amazing series of webinar. Let's make it very interactive. If you have any questions, please feel free to put your questions in the chat, or you can raise your hand and we'll take your questions. Yeah. With that, I leave it to the panelists. Over to you, Francesco. If you can go to the next slide, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ayan. All right. So as Ayan was mentioning, the question on how to build a resilient and sustainable supply chain, I believe, is still at the top of the head of all executives across different industry. And that's because, as Ayan was mentioning, we are still seeing and witnesses a global disruption across the globe. And this obviously has a great impact on supply chain and logistics. I believe that all the companies, irrespective of the industry, they're understanding that we need to have a new paradigm, to be reactive to what is happening at the moment is not sufficient. It's important to enhance what is the collaboration with all the external stakeholders in order to build a more resilient supply chain. If we look at actually what are the major drivers of disruption that we're currently witnessing in the supply chain, we will see that actually logistics is definitely one of the top one. If we can go to the next slide. All right, so what we see here, we can see that in this graph, we have what we call a global supply chain pressure index. And we can see that in the last 10 years, definitely, we can see that we have many disruptions. My colleague Aya was mentioning about, the COVID situation. Then we had the Suez Canal interruption, when probably all of you remember the Evergiver vessel that got stuck in there. And then you obviously know also what is the current situation where a lot of ocean carriers are avoiding passing by the Suez Canal. So all of these disruptions are definitely here to stay, and as we can see from this graph, for sure they will go also in the future. And logistics is definitely one of the areas where these disruptions are impacting the most. We heard that currently we are experiencing 2 weeks, 3 weeks delayed in shipments between Asia to Europe or the other way around. We also witness an increase in freight quotation. So we saw that, for example, the container rates were going down after COVID, after peaking during COVID, the situation, but now they're picking up again. So all of this is putting a lot of pressure on companies, and companies are trying to mitigate some of these challenges. For example, by building extra stock, building extra safety stock. We also read about, for example, car manufacturers that are actually purchasing their own vessel to transport their cars to the export market, because we are seeing a tight, let's say, situation when it comes to container shipping. So all of this is definitely here to stay. And as I mentioned before, being reactive is not sufficient anymore. That's why SAP, more than 5 years ago, decided to invest on what we call SAP Business Network in order to extend what are the core processes which companies are currently managing inside their ERP, SAP ERP, to extend these core processes beyond the four walls and start collaborating with external stakeholder, whether we're talking about suppliers of raw materials, whether we're talking about supplier of logistics service provider, and so on. So in today's webinar, we would like to explain more into details how the business network can definitely help your organization to build a resilience and to have a more sustainable supply chain. So with that, I will hand over to Pankaj. Over to you.
Thank you, Francesco, and thank you, Ayan, for setting up the context here, and also giving this incredible insight on the current market outlook, why we need a resilient supply chain. So it is very clear that supply chain disruptions have significant impact on our business today. Let's delve into some of the common day-to-day challenges a supply chain executive faces in today's world. For example, some of the frequent problems could be for a supply chain executive that where is my product or where is my container lying in the supply chain, in the process. Is there any kind of a disruption or possible bottleneck arising in the supply chain? If yes, then what all different shipments, containers, or loads would be affected? Then I need to know that what all customers would be impacted. What would be the impact on my commercials and timelines if I do not address this disruption on time, or if I do not try to mitigate this? What are possible impacts, what are possible options I have to mitigate this disruption or minimize the impact of it? What are plan B, plan C, or plan D do I have? Okay. Now, once the supply chain executive decides to go for one of these alternative plans, then comes the next load of questions. For example, what all possible inventory or support is required to execute this plan? Do I need any kind of a support from any existing or ad hoc trading partner? If I want to coordinate with a trading partner, who all are available in that region, the region where the disruption has occurred? Right? Who all are the best fit for my business, keeping in view the cost, effectiveness, compliance with the local regulations, etc. How fast can I onboard this new trading partner to my system? And how fast I can enable them to transact with us? And then comes the next question. Is my system capable enough to use and churn all this data and provide an intelligent comparison of these alternative plans, that if I can compare between plan C, plan D, various plans, which system can give me a kind of a quantitative as well as qualitative analysis, and contextualizing all my different factors. And how fast can I implement this alternative plan? So there are so many questions of supply chain executive looks for an answer. And last but not the least, is the recommended solution what system is recommending, is it going to help me to be compliant with the sustainability norms? Now let's have a closer look into how we can build a resilient supply chain and what all different key processes and elements contribute to it. So there are many common challenges which we used to face or we are still facing. Can be informations are stored in the silos or isolated systems, which makes it challenging to obtain a comprehensive view on the entire supply chain. That could be one. Inaccurate or untimely data, where data may be outdated, it can be inaccurate or redundant, not readily available. So that prevents me to make any kind of accurate decision making. There can be some others like lack of visibility into key aspects of the supply chain, such as inventory level or shipment status or production schedules, right? It can also be that my supply chain is so complex where it's a complex network of numerous partners, suppliers, intermediaries, which actually limits the efficiency of the system. There are too many third-party tools or solutions which I'm using. Then there could be something like regulatory compliance challenges. For example, any kind of a custom compliance with my system is not meeting. In that case, it can impact on the legal issue, penalties, or disruption due to the non-compliance. And then there comes lack of standardization, which is pretty common in the industry. If they are not using any standardized process, in that case, absence of this standardized process and data formats can create another level of problem. So what we need to do, what needs to be done for this? So as you can see that the first one is connect every process. Basically, that is to create a strong foundation. We need to have a strong and stable foundation, which can be achieved by having a system which connects every process, which should tightly integrate all the aspects of supply chain, like orders, demands, inventory, production team, timeline, lead time, procurement, regulatory compliances. If you talk about transportation, then transportation constraints or the delivery timelines, right? Or local incompatibility and rules. And availability of resources. So there can be then various vital supply chain decision-making components, which needs to be shake hand and which needs to come on the single platform and give me a bigger picture. SAP S/4HANA Digital Core coupled with SAP Transportation Management can provide you a simplified and strong foundation for this. So that is what is required as the first step, where you need to have a strong foundation. And this can also help you to provide a standardized process and industry best practices. Now let's go to the next component. So next component would be, I need to have the visibility of my shipment. I need to report and capture any possible disruptions. Need of having an efficient process to collaborate with my trading partner. For example, let's say, take an example that if my primary supply chain is in risk, I may need to have access to 2 to 3 alternate sources of supply line. Or in case of any ad hoc manpower requirement, I might need something at a port. I need some manpower. In that case, I may need contingent labor. Or if my business suddenly has any kind of a cash flow issue, in that case, I might need ready access to working capital. So it means that I need to have a good network of trading partners who can support me in these kind of problems whenever this kind of disruption happens. So I need to have a platform where efficient communication between the stakeholders, suppliers, and partners can take place. And this is where exactly SAP Business Network helps. So this network connects people, process, and system across multiple enterprises. It can help digitizing the transactions, creates a transparent, resilient, and sustainable supply chain. SAP Business Network covers various elements of supply chain, and one of the coverage areas is SAP Business Network for Logistics, where we will be focusing more. Business Network for Logistics also has certain components which I'll be coming to very soon. So one of them is Global Track and Trace, which can help with the addressing the real-time visibility of the shipments, and it can report any planned and unplanned event if it's coupled with any kind of a visibility provider solution. The SAP Business Network collaboration platform has mainly two components. So it has a marketplace of millions of trading partners, providing all the goods and services you can imagine. The customer can search the marketplace, what they need, communicate, and transact with the trading partner. It also provides a B2B transactional collaboration platform which enables us to extend core processes of my SAP and non-SAP system into the system of our trading partners. So, for example, sharing the PO directly from S4 with intended supplier digitally instead of any kind of an email or PDF communication, right? Or performing on actions like order confirmation or advanced shipping notification, sharing the invoice with them digitally. These are some of the few. It also has the intelligence to capture and react to the error before it occurs. So it's more of a proactive rather than reactive, like PO to invoice transparency, duplicate orders, invoices, etc. right? Now, next comes the third part of it, which is contextualizing my decision. So I have a strong foundation. I have a collaboration platform where I can interact with my trading partners at various stages of my supply chain. Now I need to contextualize my decision. And this is where intelligent insight helps me. So intelligent insight can help with contextualizing the information during the work processes and the relevancy of the decision. It can provide a visual dashboard to management and the stakeholders to take an informed decision, right? And last but not the least, sustainability, which is not a buzzword anymore. An optimized system, once built, it helps to build an efficient supply chain. And eventually that helps to reduce the carbon footprint, can help to build a greener supply chain to attain the sustainability goal. Okay, so at a very high level, if I talk about business network has following coverage areas. As you can see on the screen, indirect procurement collaboration, supply chain collaboration, logistic collaboration, asset management, finance, and talent. So today we will be focusing on BN4L, which is your business network for logistics. So as you can see on the screen, business network for logistics have mainly components, for example, freight collaboration, global track and trace, material traceability, and intelligent insight. It's a cloud solution, and you can have various type of solutions as per your current landscape or problem statement. For example, BN4L can directly integrate with SAP ERP. It can also integrate with SAP S4 TM, and it can also integrate with SAP, any non-SAP system as well. The feature it provides are shipment communications, tendering, dock appointment scheduling, freight settlement, freight tracking, material traceability, and also intelligent insight, which is also part of it. And if you can integrate it with any kind of a visibility provider, you can have a real-time access to real-time tracking of your goods or your shipment, right? And as I said earlier, that this system can be integrated with hundreds of thousands of carriers once they are onboarded on your BN4L cloud platform. Now, I will be talking about very briefly a different point of communication between a shipper and carrier. And eventually after that, I will be running a demo where I will be showing you SAP freight collaboration as well as SAP Global Track and Trace. So we have two videos for that. I will be running very shortly. So you can see that there are various level of processes where shipper and carrier need to interact with each other. For example, at a time of tendering or at a time of freight execution. So tendering basically is the stage where shipper sends the information or tender information to the carrier, and carrier can accept or reject. Then freight execution is the one where once the carrier starts the execution, he can send various events which can be captured and can be processed in the shipper side. Then you can also do the monitoring, where comes the GTT in picture. And then after that, freight settlement. So freight settlement is where carrier can generate the invoice, carrier can agree or disagree with the charges which is generated by your system, and that can eventually create a dispute. And that can also be handled and tackled digitally. You don't have to do any kind of a paperwork. The dispute can be raised, can be accepted or rejected, or further processes, further course of actions can be taken care of. So I would be running the video here. So I think my screen is visible to everyone. So in this screen, basically, we are trying to explain that how the freight collaboration works. So here, what we are doing is we have created a freight booking, a freight order. From the freight order, an RFQ is created, which is being sent into the carrier tenant. When I say carrier tenant, it means that screen is for the carrier, where carrier can see all the loads coming in their way, and they can take the action accordingly. For example, if they want to accept it or reject it, or once they accept it, how to execute and everything. So this screen is for carrier, where carrier can see that, okay, this load has come in my way. Then after that, carrier can respond to this freight request. So in this example, for example, carrier is first looking into the load, that what it is all about, from where to where it is going, and other details. And if he's okay with this, he can accept or reject it. So here in this case, they are accepting the load. Once it's accepted, then the shipper can see it whether the load has been accepted by the relevant carrier or not. So in this case, if you see, the quotation 1 has been sent and it is accepted already, right? Once it is accepted, then after that it can be awarded to that carrier. So here carrier can see that this load has awarded to me, and now he can finally confirm it that okay, I'm okay to execute this. And once that happens, then his carrier will be assigned in the freight order, and he will be eligible to start the execution processes. Now going further, now you can see that carrier has been assigned. If you see the status of the freight order, it will show that no confirmation yet to, once you refresh, you will see confirmed. It means it has been accepted and awarded to the carrier, and now carrier can start doing the execution of it. Carrier can start reporting the events, various events. So it's first it comes into ready for reporting status. Now we are reporting, for example, we are reporting departure. So it can be reported manually or it can be reported via any visibility provider as well. Time has been reported. Doing it on time because that is what the expected time range. Now the status has changed to reporting in progress. If you see the execution tab of the freight order, you will see that this event has been successfully reported. So you can see that departure has been reported successfully. So like that, various different events can be reported in the entire execution cycle or logistic cycle. This is the place where you can see various information about your load. For example, you can see the information of your load, what is the distance, what is the departure location, destinations, etc. If you go to other part of it, which is your settlement, there you can, carrier can basically create the carrier invoice, right? So here, what carrier is doing, carrier is disagreeing with this charges, and he is saying that no, it's not 60, it's going to be 70 euro. And carrier is now changing the value and submitting it. Once that happens, it will start reflecting in your shipper side documents as well with a dispute. And so I go to manage dispute screen. I can see the updated value. See that, okay, 60 euro was the original amount and 70 is the amount which is entered by carrier. Now I can either accept or reject this. And once I take the necessary action, accordingly, the document itself will also be updated and then the further course of action can be taken. So that was about freight collaboration. There are many more other functionality, for example, appointment scheduling, etc., which I'm not showing here, but this is one. Look into the other aspect of BN4L, which is Global Track and Trace. So Global Track and Trace, basically, if you want to initiate it, there are three different information which uniquely helps to track the shipment, which is your master bill of lading number, your freight booking number, container number, and of course carrier. So this is going from China, Shanghai to Netherlands. If you see, this is my container number, PCUV, which has been entered. And with this, I can uniquely identify once this document goes into GTT. So these are the information where I need a freight booking number, as I said, container number, bill of lading, and carrier. Now system is showing me that the estimated arrival date and time is this. And I can also see the various information. For example, what is the escape code of the carrier, whether it's FCL, LTL, durations, weight of the cargo, right? The change log. Then the next is carrier reference document, which is your bill of lading number. Then after that, I have a shipper reference document, which is your ERP document. It can be sales order or purchase orders. After that, you can see that various events have been reported. So there are some events which were reported early, then some events which were reported a bit late. So what is the overall impact and how it's actually flowing down for the further events? You can see it here. The tracking unit, I can see my container number. As you can see, this is the container number we had built. I can see that what all freight units are involved in this. And then I can see the tracking timeline, which is more of a visual presentation of my tracking. So here basically it's a coupled with a visibility service provider, which is helping us to see this on map. And I can see that what all different timelines and action have happened at different point of supply chain. The dark line or the thick line, what you are seeing, this is your actual route. And the dotted line is actually the planned route. Now, as you can see that various events system is showing. It's showing the tracking number, the different dates, like when it was planned, what was the actual one. You can also slice and dice this screen as per your need. For example, if you want to see it in certain way, if you want to filter down for a particular event of your interest, right? So those kind of things can be done, and you can also personalize it. You can save it as per your personal preference, so that next time when you open the screen, you see only those information which is relevant for you, and you don't have to go through thousands of records and data. Now, if I want to see that what all different items are there, I can see the freight unit number, the event status I can see. So this is showing me the estimated time of arrival at Port of Rotterdam. Right now, I can, if I want to do the impact analysis, and if I want to see that which all different freight units are getting impacted for any particular event, that can be seen. Let me make it a bit faster. Okay, I can also look at the map if I want to, and zoom in, zoom out. So these are the various events in a tabular form. And this is where the entire summary of the tracking is there. Now there is another example which I wanted to show, that in case any particular delay has happened, how system can give you the insight of the possible solutions or possible impact of it, that what all different documents have been impacted. As you can see, just a moment. This example I have, this is a demo example. It's not a real-time example actually. So here I have my load which is going from Beijing to Hamburg, right? And it's delayed by 3 days and 15 hours. So in the information section, as I said earlier, we can see the load information, we can see the VOL number, we can see the carrier numbers. And in the map, as you can see, since it's a 6-line, because it's a demo example, so in actual, it will not be like this. If it's coupled with any visibility service provider, it will show you the actual route, right? So here it's showing me that what is the impact of the delay, which is 100%. What is the net value of my shipment? 200,000 euro. And if I want to see the document flow, that the shipment which is getting impacted, how it is actually linking with the purchase order or with the sales order initiating, right? And how it is impacting that particular line. So that kind of a document flow also I can see here on the screen, and then I can take the necessary action accordingly. That's about the demo, short demo. So we spoke about building a resilient supply chain. We spoke about what all different components are involved there, right? Now, after looking at these processes, we looked at, we also need to have the insight of the business processes. We need to have that view that how my supply chain is doing, how it's working, right? How efficient it is. So in order to do that, we have built an asset, which is our internal asset, which is called as supply chain performance assurance. And if you can see that this dashboard gives you a very detailed view of what is my inventory days of supply timeline, right? Back for various KPIs, I can see that more into a very quantitative form, and I can take a decision. So we monitor key KPIs such as on time delivery rate, or freight cost per kilometer, freight cost mix, etc. Carbon footprint monitor. So this is our another asset. So as I discussed earlier, that sustainability is a critical and integral part of the supply chain. So we have an asset built which provides a carbon footprint insight of the entire supply chain. It gives the key indicators such as what is the factors which is contributing to CO2 emission and how it is progressing over the timeline to help us not only quantify it, but it also helps to know the contributing factors in much detail, right? So these are the assets I wanted to talk about. Put it to Amit now. Amit can take over the next slides. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pankaj, for bringing some good insights on the process, and Francesco for setting the stage and context, and thanks, Ayan. I think pretty much we have answered the two big questions. Why do we need some systems, or why do we really need a proper application in place to get the supply chain visibility, and what is the importance of the same? At the same time, Pankaj has highlighted what it takes to do that, or what kind of applications we would need, how does it work, how does it look like. It is equally important for us to know how do we implement that, or how do we bring those applications in place for you all, right? So I'll quickly walk you through some information about our organization. We'll also talk about briefly what are the assets we have to bring you to the speed or implement those solutions for you in the longer journey. Okay, can you move to the next slide, please? Great, thank you. A quick introduction to Westernacher Consulting. I'm not sure how many of you know. I'm sure if you've been into digital supply chain world, the name is not new. Been with SAP for last 30 years as a gold partners. Been into business for last 53 plus years. We are about 1,000 plus experts focusing on supply chain and overall spend management and business network side of the work. We are 100% employee own organization, our revenue is close to 125 million. We take ourselves proud of being carbon neutral. We are net zero since 2021, I believe. It's quite surprising for you to know that we were the first one to implement warehousing solution across the globe, among the very first ones to do the transportation and the first ones to do the yard logistics. So all in all, it says we work very closely with SAP to bring in the solutions, bring in the innovations for you. And that shows our focus is clearly bringing the innovations, bringing the first ones, being the pioneer to supply chain industries by large. We've been rated expert for supply chain management, which is both planning and execution. ERP, which is the core, digital core, which Pankaj talked about earlier, and the BTP as well, where we do our innovations. So we are rated as experts from SAP. We cover end-to-end, be it supply chain, be digital supply chain, or SWAN management, or the S4 digital core as well. Next slide, please, Pallavi. A glimpse on our transportation management practice. We have done so far more than 150 implementations on transportation. We have about 140 experts who focuses on transportation purely, and to fill the white spaces in the oral products and solution. And from our learnings of years of implementing transportation solutions across the globe, we found some unique solutions which comes in very handy for you guys. So we implement that, we build up that, and we use that as assets or accelerators for making a fast track of your solution, or implementing the solution much faster than anybody else. We were the first one to do in the world the business network for logistics API implementation. First one to do the cloud TM edition. So a lot of this first one you'll see all across here. Next slide, please. Same goes with business networks. We are the top Ariba partners, ISV partners with SAP. We did one of the largest Ariba implementation in CE. We have done, I would say, more than 7-8 implementation in business networks, and few are in your region as well. So quite no name into intelligence span and business network together. Next slide, please. Let's look at it. How do we engage further from here? Do you also have the similar questions which are not answered? We talked about it, but it definitely requires, every organization is different. And it's very important to understand what are your problem areas, what are your challenges, what are your visions, and how do we incorporate a transformation roadmap or a path which suits you, tailored to you. So we divide this into 2 stages. First, we call inspiration or innovation day workshop, which is roughly about 2 to 4 hours. The thought behind that workshop is we look at your vision of supply chain for future. We look at what do you want to do? What are your ideas, and how do we concrete those ideas on the realization of your vision? We also look at what can be some tangible, intangible benefits we are looking at in a shorter span or a longer span of time, which helps us to understand the key goals, objective, and vision of the organization. We follow it up with a feasibility assessment workshop where there are 3 different sessions. It takes about 1 week to do that. The outcome of that is a complete roadmap where we present to you that here are your business challenges. This is what we think it takes to do it. This is the roadmap. How should you do a phased approach or all together, big bang versus phase? We do a risk analysis. Along with us, we do end-to-end process walkthrough with you to understand how this process is and whether this process works for you or not. We also look at the overall architecture, the fitment of architecture, because every organization has a unique starting point, right? So you may have a different architecture. Does the solution fits in that? And if there are some integration points, point solutions, how do we do that? And addressing each one of your pain points and visions and that. And all the sessions together, once you see the final output document, which basically nothing but a roadmap blueprint to you, saying this is what it takes to embark the journey. And then we take that. So this is more about building up a business case, and we take from there to deliver the business case exactly the way we define in the business case. So that's our Westernacher's approach. What differentiate us from large organization? Of course, the approach, which is the starting point. Importantly, we have a fastest way to implement the solutions to you. You'll be surprised we can do. So if somebody at your organization, imagine from today to next 40 days, if you decide today, within 50 business days, you will have an end-to-end real-time tracking system, irrelevant of what is your core solution or core ERP. You can still be in ECC. You can also have transportation or no transportation. In either of the architecture landscape, we have a solution for you, which is pre-built, readily available, which can be tweaked according to your unique requirements. All in all, you get this in less than 50 days. And also we provide intelligent visibility, which is based on another solutions, but we can also, choices of your supply chain control tower is either on IBP, which is another solution, or intelligent insight, or we can also use the supply chain assurance assets, which Pankaj showcased earlier in there. That all can be done in less than 40 days. So in this short span of a time, we want you to generate value. You should be able to see things coming in there, and then we can always evolve, build further on top of it as and when required. So if you want to know more about this, please feel to reach out to us. I have shared the link. We'll share this presentation to you as well in future, so that you can go and get the more information on our packages. Next slide, please. Some of the glimpse of our solution, how does it look? So if you look at it, it has all ETA information. You can also track timeline with the maps. You can overview of where the transportation or supply chain looks at. If there are disruption, you can also look at the impacted orders on the solution as well. So it's a very holistic solution which you get in that time to value package. With that, I think I move to the last section of ours to Ayan. Thank you. Over to you, Ayan.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you, Francesco and Pankaj. I think, overall, you would have got a bit of a glimmer about what Business Network for Logistics covers. And if you can go to the next slide, please. For me, there are three takeaways. If you can go to, for me, there are three takeaways, right? So we showed you a bit of an end-to-end capability of our solutions, both from the collaboration perspective as well as from tracking perspective, right? So all in all, this is complementing your core ERP functionalities, and typically, as Amit highlighted, we want to really get into what you believe are some of the pain points within your supply chain. I think this is the moment, and we build the case together, right? And we plan it and plan to make a move together, and then we implement and enable your solutions and make sure that you have a very successful fast start to your process. So please feel free to reach out to us to have a one-to-one conversation. We then go through the process and really suggest some of the recommendations that we need, that you need from our side, right? We're also willing to organize peer-to-peer conversations for yourself with some of the industry peers who have embarked on a similar journey and has realized value in implementing the solution. And last but not the least, just for you guys, there is also a customer community event that we are organizing in Walldorf, Germany, between 5th to the 7th of March. Yeah, this is predominantly happening for customers who are looking to enhance their supply chain capability. It is just more than just logistics. Logistics is a part of it, but we are also covering other aspects, for example, the holistic supply chain collaboration, as well as asset collaboration. There you also get a chance to meet and greet with some of the peers in the industry. And if you want to register for the event, you can go to the link to register for the event. And if any one of you is interested, then please feel free to reach out to me, and I will make sure that I'll give you a proper brief about the event. Yeah. Lastly, I think if we can go to the last slide, we are almost at the top of the hour. I would like to thank you for your patience. I hope the session was very useful to you. I'm not sure if there are any questions in the chat. Can somebody just tell me that if there are any questions that you've seen in the chat that needs to be answered? Or if anyone has any questions, you can raise your voice now for any questions. If not, I think you can. These are the email IDs for us, both from SAP and Westernacher. Feel free to reach out to us, and we are more than happy to answer and collaborate further for any future requirements. Yeah. With that, I would like to thank all of you and wish you a wonderful day. Thank you so much.